Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you The World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News, and I'm James Creechbaum. Well, a retired police officer convinced what he saw wasn't a bear. And this is kind of his report in his words right here. Started to pull forward. Then from our left, out of the pine thicket, came a huge thing, about 8.5 to 9 feet tall, and very dark brown, almost black hair, 3 to 4 inches long. Huge chest and shoulders, long arms, and no neck. It ran with incredible speed. In 3 long strides, it covered from the trees across the road in front of us and onto the right side of the tree line, which is about 30 feet. And then over the fence onto another man's property, which is part of the Elkhart Creek and flows to the Trinity River. It made no sound, and we had our windows down. This creature was clearly seen by all 3 of us, and we just sat there for a while to gather our wits. Coronavirus, it keeps spreading with new cases in California and Texas. The 15th case of the new deadly coronavirus was confirmed in Texas among other people who fled the Chinese epicenter of the outbreak and have been living under quarantine, federal officers have announced Thursday. Just hours earlier, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed a 14th infection in San Diego, the second case among approximately 230 evacuees living under quarantine at Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar. Now, the Texas case at Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, has in a person who fled the outbreak origin city of Wuhan, China, and arrived in the U.S. on a State Department chartered flight on February 7th. Fresh Bigfoot prints in Ireland, and a woman scared for her life by a UK Bigfoot. Ireland's emerald forests are known for their ghosts, leprechauns, and other strange and unexplained beings, but Bigfoot, it turns out that the country has had a large number of Bigfoot sightings over the years. And here's her in her words. At first we thought it was a joke, but as we continued to walk further on, there was footprints for about a quarter mile. This made us think that maybe this wasn't a joke. Maybe my friend got down and measured with his hand to the print, and it was quite bigger than his hand. We also go on walks here and never seen these types of animal footprints ever before. Well, there's another Bigfoot sighting. Some friends and I went camping for the weekend at a KOA campground near Fort Stevens, Oregon. We walked around a blind corner on the trail when we heard what sounded like a high-pitched scream. My friend said, "That sounds like a kid." So we ran down the trail, assuming someone was hurt. While we were running, we heard a series of grunts, very low and very close. They sounded almost like a hog, only longer, and much louder and lower pitched. We stopped running, and I put my hands on my knees and crouched down, looking off the trail all around us to see where the sounds were coming from. Then I saw an animal about 5 feet off the trail in the bush, approximately 10 yards away from us, in the direction we had come from. We had run right past it. It was very hairy and black, and at first glance I thought it was a black bear, which I've seen before, but then it stood up, and I realized it was crouching. The guy I was with is 6'2", and it was a little taller than him. It swung around and began to run away from the trail into the brush. It ran like a man, much too agile to be a bear, and completely upright, swinging its arms in front of it as it ran to move the heavy brush out of its way. It didn't lumber side to side like a bear does when it stands on its hind legs. Early humans interbred with ghost population. A new study has revealed that our ancestors mated with mysterious unknown population of ancient humans. One of the more startling discoveries arising from a genome sequencing of ancient hominid DNA is the realization that all humans outside of Africa have traces of DNA in their genomes that do not belong to our own species. Now, a new study published in Science Advances suggests that early humans living inside Africa may have interbred with archaic humanoids. Now, these are extinct species that are related to Homo sapiens. Next news break, top of the hour.
From our compound, from the West Coast to the East Coast to worldwide, both on the internet and terrestrial radio, you're listening to Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.
Well, tonight you might want to get a nice cup of Java, cup of tea, or something to relax you. You know, get a nice blanket, curl up on that easy chair in front of the fire, because tonight we're going to be talking about Bigfoot monsters. And who's our guest tonight, James?
Dave Spinks, and he's been on several TV shows throughout the last few years. He covers pretty much everything, aspects of the paranormal, from UFOs to cryptids to Bigfoot to Mothman to spirits, you name it.
Oh, yeah. Well, a little bit about Dave. He served in the U.S. Air Force for 8 years, and in 1986, that's when he started doing, well, his researching in the supernatural. So we need to get Dave on here, and, well, we'll get to it. I got to find out about his experience about a Bigfoot. So we'll bring him on here, and hopefully we'll get him on here. You never know with Skype, you know, it kind of like drops out sometimes. And so far, he's not answering. Now, that number you gave me, hopefully it was the right number.
Yeah, it should be. Let me check with him here real quick.
Now, he's not answering. Oh, I think we have him.
Automatic voice message system.
Dave.
Uh-oh.
Is not available at the time.
So we'll give it a second and get back. You might want to send him a message real quick.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now, actually, while you've been speaking.
And he knew it was for tonight, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he got stuck in the blizzard or something like that. Now, I'm kind of curious, too, with our listeners. Have any of you guys encountered, well, anything like a Bigfoot or anything like that? If you have, you can certainly give us a call and let us know here the last half an hour.
He said, go ahead. Call again.
Okay, we are calling again. And let's give it a try. I'm just wondering if the number... Okay, do we have Dave this time?
Yeah.
Well, hi, Dave. This is Gary from Night Dreams Talk Radio. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing as well, and I'm doing as good as I can. And whereabouts are you located at?
I'm in West Virginia.
Now, how's the weather in West Virginia?
Cold, rainy, and snowy.
Oh, wow. Do you get much snow there?
3 feet sometimes, 2 feet, 1 foot, you know.
Oh, wow. Now, if everything's right, you started investigating the supernatural, in 1986?
Yeah, roughly.
Oh, wow. What got you into it? I heard, according to James, that you had an encounter with your family or your father or something with a Bigfoot?
Yeah. Are we live now?
We are live on 22 radio stations and the internet. And just like Memorex, we are live.
All right. 1 second, I wasn't ready to be live, but that's all right.
No, I don't do a dead show. I do a live show.
No, it's fine. I didn't know we were going to go straight into it, but no big deal.
Oh, yeah, I apologize for that. James should have told. Blame it on James. I blame everything on. It's James.
I'm the fall guy.
Yeah, so that's what started me in '83 when I was 13. Me and my grandfather were fishing, and we had an encounter with what I could only describe as a Bigfoot.
Well, tell us all about it, because you know what? I had, in the early 2000s, with a friend of mine who was a medical doctor. We were out taking pictures up in the Canadian Rockies, and we went to a Japanese internment camp. Well, it was left over from World War II, I should say. And we had an encounter with a Bigfoot. So I'm kind of, go ahead. I want to hear your encounter. So you were out fishing or doing something. What happened?
Well, we were fishing, had a good day fishing, and we had cooked our fish up and had eaten, and we're sitting by the fire. And it was just before dark, about 30 minutes or so. And out of nowhere, this huge splash hit the water. We didn't see what caused the splash. We jumped up, looked around because it startled us. There's no people around. Where we were, a very rural, rugged area. And so we saw the splash and rained down in the water, searched around for a few minutes and couldn't figure out what caused it. So we kind of just like, that was really weird. And we sat back down, and I don't know, it must have been a minute or two later, maybe 3, roughly. You hear something clipping through the tree branches. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this huge boulder or rock coming up through the trees from the other side of the river and come out and hit in the water about the same place the other rock did, or whatever it was. It had to have been a rock because it's the only thing that made sense. And this thing, when I say big rock, I mean a big rock, something a grown man couldn't even get his arms around. And that hit the water and made a huge splash. But we didn't see, what threw it or what caused it. And as we're sitting there just bewildered and startled at what we saw occur, you hear this god-awful blood-curdling scream come out from the other side of the river. And the river's about 60, 75 yards, something like that, across at that particular point. And I looked to see where my grandpa was, and he was gone, and I looked back, and he was running toward the tent. So I knew right then and there he was going to grab his shotgun out of the tent. And he came running back, and I'm standing there just going, what in the heck was that, And he yells out across the river at something. He thinks it's people saying, "You hoodlums, knock it off or I'm going to shoot." Now, I'm thinking in my mind, there's no way a person threw that rock that far, that high. There's no way a rock that size. And this thing, it starts carrying on and letting out these screams and howls and yells. And he cracks off a shot over in that direction. Well, that sent whatever it was that, because we didn't know, we still couldn't see what it was. Whatever was making all this noise and racket into overdrive. This thing started shaking trees that were 50 and 60 foot tall, just raising one crazy ruckus. And he yells at me about this time. He cracked off 3 or 4 more shots. You still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm just listening because it's so,
and
detailed.
He cracks off 3 or 4 more shots. He yells at me, "Run to the truck, boy," or "Get to the truck, boy." And I run over there. And I'm cowering down behind the front quarter panel, peeking around in the same direction. And this thing, whatever it was, at the time, you could trace its path through the woods by watching all the tree movement that it was causing by shaking and just raising all this cane and ruckus, Well, it came to this little point where there's a clearing, and I could see this humanoid looking man creature covered in hair come through that clearing. And I saw it from the waist up, never saw its face, but it was, a humanoid bipedal on 2 legs like a man. And I saw it, and